As the great Jimi Hendrix once asked, are you experienced? Welcome to episode 7 of Becoming a Champion. And the reason that I asked that question today of are you experienced comes back to where we started in episode 6, the trilogy of self-confidence, preparation, experience, and mindset. We touched in that last episode a little bit about Albert Bandura's self-efficacy theory. And when it comes to experiences, there's 2 aspects of Bandura's theory that I really wanted to hone in on. It's the first 2 parts of it: mastery experiences or performances, and vicarious experiences, observing others. Really, when we think about it, all of these things impact our experience when also with verbal persuasion or words of encouragement and the physiological and emotional states of our feelings. But let's hone in particular when it comes to building self-confidence through our experiences around what we can learn from our performances. And so this is from my book, The Champion Leader. I have part of chapter 2, which is dedicated to you, building your self-awareness, and so much of self-awareness is formed through self-confidence. I use a quote in the book from Dr. Robert I. Sutton from the Harvard Business Review, and he's a Stanford University management professor. Knowing that success and failures are going to come and go in our lives, it's what we really choose to take forward from those experiences and what we choose to leave behind. So he has an interesting take on this that I wanted to share with you. And Dr. Sutton wrote, after people succeed at something, it is especially important to have them focus on the things that actually went wrong. They learn more than if they just focus only on success. And he says, so don't just gloat and congratulate yourself about what you did right, focused on what could go even better. Next time, he says, when failure happens, the most important thing is to have an after-event review to provoke sufficiently deep thinking. Whether you talk about successes or failures is less important. Key takeaways here when it comes to experiences, when it comes to performances, as he talks about. When you're experiencing success, when things have really gone well, it's a really wise move to go back and look at, well, what are the things that maybe went wrong? What are the things, even though you succeeded? So think about it. As a sports team, if you're a coach of an athletic program in college, if you're a professional sports coach, often when you win, it's still good to look at the things that maybe didn't go well. In business, similarly, you're an investment firm that chose one technology company over another. What were the positives that you learned from that experience of putting maybe more capital into one particular stock than another? It translates over into a variety of realms around law. We could look at, the way that a case was defended or the way that a case was prosecuted. What went well, what didn't? In the world of sports, it's very, very common to think about the things that we could have done better. And we're always having that kind of corrective mindset. But what he talks about in success is not just to gloat in the victory, but also to look at, well, what are the things that didn't go well? That maybe if they had been better or executed better or prepared for better, to go back to preparation, experience, and mindset, you would have succeeded even more, or the results would have been better. It's not always just a win or a loss, as we know in business. There's certain things about conversations that we have with others. There's decisions that we have to live with that are obviously a lot more nuanced than just a black and white outcome in many, many instances. But then to go back, and he says that when failure happens, the most important thing is to have an after-event review to provoke sufficiently deep thinking. Whether it was a success or whether it was a failure in terms of what you're talking about is less important. Either way, when we think about, well, what is really an after-event review? An after-event review is about self-awareness. It's reflection. So we go back to Bandura's theory of self-efficacy, mastery experiences. What do we learn from those performances? Reflecting, even when things go positive and when we succeed, reflecting also on the things that went wrong and how we could come to peace with those, accept them for what they are, and resolve to be better the next time. When we don't do as well, having an after-event review, a sobering, non-emotional approach to reflection. What can we learn from that? And how can we be better the next time? That is where experience ultimately goes back and feeds preparation. It's a cyclical approach. Preparation leads to experience. Experience leads to preparation, and mindset, the third part of the trilogy that we'll talk about next time, is really the umbrella piece that's always there. It's how we approach each situation with optimism that we'll spend a lot more time on in episode 8. The vicarious experiences. So even before you maybe entered into a leadership role, or before you entered into a management role, and we think about this in life, as a brother, as a father, mother, the role that you might play with your family, even before you maybe became a parent for the first time, if you are in fact a parent, what you learned from observing others who are parents. Every opportunity in life is an opportunity to observe, to learn, to grow, and to profit from that experience. That in part is the mindset. Experience fuels mindset, experience fuels preparation, mindset fuels preparation and experience. All of these things touch one another and have reciprocal relationships. If you have the mindset and see every situation that you're placed into as an opportunity to be better the next time, your experiences are going to turn out more successful. You're going to have a more rigorous and optimistic approach to those after-event reviews that you do, no matter whether it was a success or whether it was a failure. I wanted to just touch on a couple other things that come here from my book, The Champion Leader. Growing in self-confidence takes time. One of the biggest misconceptions that I found throughout life is that so many people think that our education culminates, that it ends in the education system. What we learn through mastery experiences and vicarious experiences, through the performance aspect of it, and what we learn from observing others, is that education is really lifelong. Experience can be gained in every situation, either by the actions that we take or through observing others. And when we experience these things with a learner's mindset and with reflection, we are going to grow in self-awareness, we're going to grow in overall situational awareness, and we're going to grow overall in self-confidence. It's practicing those fundamentals of learning, reflecting, experiencing, growing, and always winding and having that revolve back with a mindset that is one of a growth mindset. It's an emotionally intelligent mindset toward how do I learn? How do I get better? How do I continue to be optimistic and opportunistic in everything that I do? A couple aspects that also connect here. I'm going to talk about another concept when it comes to experience that I think is also relatable. It's self-advocacy. The more that we grow and increase in confidence with each experience that we have, after we reflect and we learn, we can become better advocates for ourselves and for the people that we lead. That's a huge part of having a confident championship approach to being a leader in life and in business. So a couple things that come back to self-advocacy that I talk about in The Champion Leader: developing a mindset of courage and confidence to influence stakeholders to understand your ideas and how you plan to innovate. Before walking into that meeting, what have you learned from the previous opportunities that you've had? When you've shared ideas, when you've tried to persuade someone or influence someone to an idea that you have, what have you learned from those experiences that are helping you to develop a more confident and optimistic mindset toward the next time? Creating a vision for your career that has depth, a long-term plan for what you want to do and why you want to do it. Any great plan, any great preparation, which is what we talked about in last week's episode, is born from the experiences that you have. You're best able to know why you want to do what you want to do and exactly what it is, and then effectively create a plan for yourself and to be able to communicate that with others. That way, you are becoming a better self-advocate, but you're also helping other people to become an advocate for you. We think about that anytime in life that you're trying to influence something. You may be trying to get a new job opportunity, or you want to advance to the C-level in a new role. By advocating for yourself and giving someone a clear picture of what it is that you want and why you want to do it, you put them in a better position to advocate for you. Again, confident approach all around. People are attracted to confidence. They're attracted to someone who has learned from their experiences. And another part of self-advocacy is influencing others to show how your organization will benefit from you taking on more opportunity, from your team getting more of the things that your team wants to do, whether it is opportunity, whether it's taking on new responsibilities, new goals, just having a better approach to all the aspects of how you execute. Like self-confidence, self-advocacy is a long game that you play, and it's born from the experiences that you have. So dedicating time that is born from preparation, when you go through each experience, whether it's at the end of your business day, at the end of your personal day, or that you find time each week to reflect and do that, as we talked about, as Dr. Sutton talked about, that after event review. What are the things that went well? What were the strengths that I exhibited in that moment? What were things that maybe didn't go well that I could do better? And even thinking about it, what are areas of opportunity? What are areas of improvement around how I communicate, how I build relationships, how I make decisions? All of those things, I call it connecting the cord. That's communications, opportunities, relationships, and decision-making. So having a framework in place for that after-event review is so important. And that can come from a couple of different criteria. Did I get the results that I want? Why didn't I get the results that I want? Don't be too tough on yourself. Just have a sobering look at things. Create those things that are going to be those areas of improvement and opportunity that you want to take with you. Don't beat yourself up about it. That's where the mindset piece comes around the back door of preparation, experience, and mindset. But take what you can from every single experience and think about just what you want to do to get better. So we learn through observing others. We learn through mastery experiences, try and try again. No matter the industry that you're in, this is a world, guys, in both life and in business, a lot of mistakes will be made. People are going to make mistakes. I make mistakes every single day. And I always kind of come back to the fundamentals and the foundation, which is where self-confidence and self-awareness, which is where an emotionally intelligent mindset, that championship approach to living, is born from the fundamentals, which is tested through rigor and reflection, making sense of experiences, learning from our mistakes, and continuing to strengthen strengths and strengthen areas of things that we naturally do very, very well. So always having an intimate knowledge of what those things are, and coming into every new opportunity, taking the positive with you and reflecting and rigorously preparing around areas that you want to grow and improve. Instilling that approach in others, right-sizing that approach as a leader to where people are in their career so that you truly meet them where they are with an empathetic approach. So we've been through the two parts at first of the trilogy here of self-confidence, this whole topic of how do we build self-confidence. This is episode in part 2 of that. This is episode 7 of Becoming a Champion. We've covered preparation. We've covered experience. Next week, a lot of great stuff to talk about when it comes to mindset. This is Christopher D. Connors. Thanks for watching Becoming a Champion.